Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Lunch and Learn Live with Dr. D and Carissa. Give us a shout out. Let us know that you're here and watching. We'd love to know your questions. Let us know that you're here. Just give us a shout out. Say hello. Whatever works. We got a lot to walk into today. Today we are talking about joy. What a better thing to talk about, right? How awesome is that? How many people want more joy in their lives? It's like, yes, please. Sign me up for that. So I want to start with a quote from Dr. Joan Rosenberg that I think is really important. And those of you who have been in our book club with Carissa over the last couple months will really appreciate that. But Dr. Jones says that most people are trying to think their way out of what feeling can only heal. I'll say that again. Most people are trying to think their way out of what only feeling can heal. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, let's be honest about it, right? Most of us are experts in thinking. I will tell you, I spend a lot of time in this little thing right here called my head, right? We analyze, we strategize, we optimize, we problem solve, we go. Sometimes it goes by itself, right? Mm-hmm. Feeling is where things can get a little bit uncomfortable. And so I think we've come to live in a world that's like overstimulated. That's like all the things coming at us all the time, all the information. Like, remember when we used to, like, you wanted to study something, you went to the library, like that was a normal influx of information that you had so much more control over, right? But today the phone's buzzing, the text messages coming in, you're getting blinged and bonked all over the place. So it's like we're scrolling, we're binging. It's like the next notification. And it's all in an effort actually to avoid the one thing that will actually bring us peace. And that's being present. So here's what's wild, right? It's wild that this is like the norm. The norm these days is not to be present. Like you're sitting at the dinner table eating with your family, or you're at a restaurant, and all you have to do is look around and everyone's like attached to their cell phones rather than present with the person in front of them. Or remember when you used to stand in line at the store and like you used to like strike up a conversation with the person in front of you or behind you, right? We used to like be connected as human beings. So, we think that we're being informed, or we think that we're being efficient, or we think that we're being productive. But the truth is we're actually numbing ourselves, right? We've traded like being alive for whatever algorithms are showing up on our phone. Yeah. And like we always say, Carissa, right? It's like the nervous system that's actually paying the price. And it's time, like we said, shed some light on like what the heck is going on here and how do we actually get back? Like, how many of you type in the message, like, when's the last time you felt pure joy? And are you experiencing joy on an everyday, multiple times a day basis? Mm-hmm. And we have to ask ourselves, like, whoa, if I'm not, why am I living that way?
Yeah. And I think you brought up a great point, right? Because it's wild with all that stimulation. We can mistake feeling busy, feeling alive, but they're not the same thing, right? And I see this with clients, and I have even, experienced it myself, that we become so overstimulated that the nervous system actually forgets what safety feels like.
Yeah.
And honestly, without safety, joy really can't lead.
Exactly.
Because joy is a body-based emotion. It's not mental achievement. It's not logic. It's not up in your head. You can't logic your way into joy like you were explaining in the beginning. Like, you can only allow it to happen to you. And I think what's sneaky is that when we've spent years in stress mode, juggling the roles, responsibility, being the strong one, joy can actually sometimes feel threatening. Mm-hmm. It can ask us to soften, it asks us to receive, and to let go of that hypervigilance. And for so many of us, that's really unfamiliar.
Right.
So instead, I think we stay busy trying to like earn the right to feel good, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we earn it.
Yeah. As if like joy has to be a reward to hard work. Like, whoa, when did that happen? And this is, you guys, I have literally, if you could see my email inbox, I have a post because I had a conversation with a friend once, and she called me out. She's like, where's the joy in your life right now? I was like, oh crap. And so I was like, all right, I need that as like, I had her like send it to me in an email, and it sits in my inbox. So every time I open my inbox, it's like at the top, and that question is there so that I'm reminded for joy, because I'm like Carissa, I'm like everyone else, where it's like, oh my gosh, like there is this unconscious thing about like having to earn joy, like you said, but think about it. I mean, we're so out of touch with ourselves and reality. Scrolling Facebook or Instagram or whatever, that's not reality. I mean, actually, so much stuff is AI. It's crazy. Most pictures aren't even real these days. I won't even tell you. My daughter sent me a picture. She was like sitting in her car, and she had like this little monkey on her hand, like a little one. And I messaged her, I'm like, what the heck is that? And she's like, oh, I rescued it from the shelter. And literally, like, I was like, come on, there's no way. But it looked like completely real. Like, even looked like it was in the dark in her car, and like you could see it. You had no idea it was fake. And I was like, wow, AI is getting really, really scary about what's possible. But I mean, think about it here. When is the last time, or how often do you actually just sit in silence, right? Not meditating, not multitasking, like just being. And it's hard. It almost becomes a new discipline. I don't want to say it's hard. I don't want to put that out into the universe. Taking that back, universe, right? It's a pitfall for many of us. Like I think about, I like to start my morning every day with grounding. So being barefoot on the ground with the sunrise. I like to look at the sun as it's coming up, right? That I think is important for all of our health to do that. But there are some days when I'm like looking at the list. And so, I'll like, if there's some sort of information or something I want to catch up on, I might take out my computer or take out my phone and like turn it on and listen while I'm doing my grounding practice. And then I'm like, Danielle, what the heck are you doing? Like, this is your nothing time. But it's so hard because we're pulled. You know what I mean?
It's very hard. And what you said before with your friend with the email really resonates with me, because I had that moment myself, and not too long ago, just a few years ago, where someone asked me like, what actually brings you joy? And I realized, like, I kind of froze in that moment, and I could rattle off like what made me productive, what made me useful, what made me feel needed, even what brought me happiness, but joy, I realized I didn't even know what that felt like anymore. And I think that's what happens to so many of us, especially women who are constantly pouring out and achieving and managing and fixing. We mistake, like I did, happiness for joy, but happiness is usually based on circumstances.
Yes.
Right? Like I can think of happy times I had, like laughing and having fun. And it depends on something going right. Right? But joy is different. I think joy, because that question kind of helped me like dive into joy. And what I learned is that it's more of an internal frequency. It's more of like the byproduct of alignment, of presence, like you just said, of being connected to your body, in the moment, and not waiting for something external to like give us permission to feel that joy.
Yeah. You see, I mean, I think most of the problem is in this day and age, we're literally filling every gap we have, like even our toilet bowl time, right?
Yeah.
Some sort of stimulation.
Yeah.
And it's like We scroll through trauma because that's a lot of what shows up, all this bad stuff. And we can't even process it, right? We'll laugh at silly videos that, might give us like a 10-second dopamine hit, or we'll check the news and then we check it again 5 minutes later. I know my thing when I'm procrastinating is I hit the send receive button on my email, like, oh, maybe I missed an email. I got to catch myself. Like, what are you doing? Right. So it's almost like we think that we can like control the global chaos by just clicking the refresh button on the time. And every swipe, every ping, every scroll, it's like a mini jolt to the nervous system.
Yeah.
So the body actually starts to believe that it's in this constant noise is normal. So that when we actually try to get quiet, we're like, whoa, what's going on here? Right? Like, God, whoa, quiet. So we live more in reaction to the world outside of us than we actually do in relationship to the world that is inside of us.
That is a hard truth, Danielle. Maybe you should repeat that.
I'll repeat it. Okay. We live more in reaction to the world that's outside of us than we actually live in relationship with the world that's inside of us. Okay. Yeah. And when we disconnect from that inner terrain, like from ourselves, essentially, it's like our emotions, our sensations, our quiet knowing, right? We actually lose access to that very chemistry of joy, the very frequency of joy that we were talking about. So it's like it actually gets cut off from us.
It really does. I literally, I don't know if anyone else watching, but I felt that in my body when you said it. Like my body gave me a resounding, like, yes.
Yes.
Because we do mistake stimulation for connection, right? We've filled every quiet space with noise. We're thinking it makes us feel more alive because we have all these, sensations that are happening as we're scrolling and doing and stuff. But like you said, it actually pulls us further from the very thing that we're really craving. So it's like, okay, now hopefully everyone else is thinking this too, but where do we start then? But, and I feel like, honestly, it begins in the smallest and simplest places. And you've touched on it a few times, usually in silence, right? Joy isn't something you chase. It's more of something that you allow. You start by creating space just for it to exist.
Yeah.
I think that is pausing long enough to actually feel what's underneath the scrolling, what's underneath the refreshing and the doing. And for me, and I think for a lot of clients, it starts with, re-inhabiting the body, noticing your breath, the warmth of sunlight on the skin, the taste of your morning tea, the way your chest can soften when you stop rushing. Like those micro moments are how your nervous system learns, like, hey, we're safe again.
Yeah.
Because joy can only be in a regulated body, not in survival.
Exactly. And right on what you're saying. And hi, Karen. Here's the thing that people don't realize. Your body will block joy if it doesn't feel safe. Say it again. Your body will block joy if it doesn't feel safe. That's a problem, right? So if you grew up in chaos, if you've experienced trauma or betrayal or constant stress, it's like your system has learned that calm can't be trusted. Okay. Yeah. And so the moment that your life slows down, your body literally sounds the alarm. It's like, there's something wrong. But you're calm, you're relaxing, like there's something wrong. And so what do? Right? We're like, oh, we're going to go watch a movie, and we're watching like these action-packed movies that even keep us still on that edge, and think we're calming down when really our nervous system isn't, and that's why we get addicted to all the, series on Netflix, for example. But that's why like you can be on vacation sometimes and still feel restless, right? Or when you can like finish your to-do list and still feel like you're failing, or when you can, just you're just sitting, like, and it's nearly impossible to sit without like reaching for your phone. So the nervous system, it doesn't know the difference again between the tiger that historically is what's chasing us, that keeps us going, right? It keeps us in that stress mode versus like the text message that comes in, or when our nervous system is trained to constantly be vigilant. Peace is like a foreigner. So like biochemically, what's happening, right? So cortisol, your stress hormone, what it does is it suppresses dopamine. That's your happy hormone, right? And so the chemistry of motivation and pleasure, essentially dopamine, is then like suppressed. So now you're not motivated, you're not pleasured. And then you've got too much stimulation that actually then will desensitize your reward centers. Okay. So your brain literally loses access to something called oxytocin, right? Oxytocin is the hormone of like connection, right? It's like that the baby and the mother when their eyes meet. So the brain literally loses access to oxytocin, and the serotonin, which is the one that has you feel really happy and content, that gets suppressed too. So when you say like, I'm doing everything right and I still don't feel right, it's because your system is running in survival mode. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like you're now miswired for safety instead of joy. Safety instead of joy.
Yeah. And I think it's good for people who are listening to understand too, right? The reaction is protection, right? So don't think of it as like negative or bad or something wrong. It's just your nervous system is doing its job. Like you talked about with the tiger, right? It's scanning for danger based on what it's known, right? Not what's true. That's the kicker. It's not what's true. It's just what it's known. So if chaos used to mean like I'm alive or I'm prepared, then calm feels unsafe only because it's unfamiliar. So your body's like, wait, something bad must be coming. What's happening? So when we talk about regulating to allow joy, it's not about forcing calm, right? It's literally just about teaching your body that peace doesn't mean danger. And that happens slowly. It happens through consistency. You could do simple things just like when you take time to practice, like feel your feet on the floor, the air on your skin, the sound of your breath. You know what I mean? Like I always, tell clients and even do it to myself, just placing my hands on my body and saying, I'm here and I'm safe right now. Yes. Because the body trusts repetition. Yes. So we talked about this in group too, like even just with sleep, like going to the bed at the same time, waking up around the same time, eating balanced meals at the same time. Yes. You know what I mean? When the body has something to predict, that equals safety also.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys, we're gonna be doing so many different exercises at our retreat that's coming up next month. So by the way, you guys, the early bird special ends on lucky day 10/10. So if you're not registered for the retreat yet, get registered. If you're like, what retreat? Then send us a message and we'll get you the link for the retreat. But Carissa, I want to touch on the fact that, a lot of our clients, they are high achieving women, right? And I think for high achieving, go-getter women, like this runs really deep, right? Because we've been conditioned to actually think that our worth is in our doing, right? We take care of everyone. We push through even when we're tired. We perform wellness the same way that we perform work sometimes, right? Like we're perfectionistic about it. And then like somewhere along the line, like we mistake busyness for meaning. And it's like we chase calm. We think calm is when we're in control. But you guys, control is usually just stress in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Again, control, right? The illusion of control is usually just stress in disguise, right? Because you're in control of it. You're just kind of waiting. And what if it like moves and you're like, oh, so it's really just stress in disguise. So you can't think your way into joy. You can't supplement your way into joy either. You actually have to feel your way back into joy. And that means, like you've said, creating that space for safety, for curiosity, for
Mm-hmm.
connection with yourself and others, right? The very things that get sacrificed a lot for productivity, right? Or taking care of other people.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly what the retreat is about for those that don't know. And I see Debbie says she's looking forward to it. We are too.
Oh my gosh, Debbie. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because and I think that's why you so beautifully named it Mind Body Freedom, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a place where we stop performing, right, for the weekend. And because we often perform healing, like you just said, and we can actually feel it. And so many of us are wired to hustle through the self-care, myself at times included, right? We meditate like it's a task, we journal like it's homework, and we try to like almost optimize our emotions. But that weekend when we're going to be away together, it's about remembering that healing isn't something that you do perfect. It's really something that you allow. And at the retreat, like, you'll slow the nervous system through rhythm, through connection, through embodiment, because joy doesn't come from doing more, right? Like we've been saying this whole time, it comes from letting go of the need to be on all the time.
Yeah. It's, you know, joy joy isn't a reward. Okay.
No.
When your
Yeah.
body finally calms down, it's not like a reward that you earn. It's actually it's the signal your body gives you when you're home again. Right?
Mm-hmm.
When again your nervous system feels safe, when it like releases its grip, when your shoulders drop, when your breath deepens, when your mind begins to quiet, and like suddenly there's space for something new, for wonder, for gratitude, for joy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the beauty and the joy, right? That's like you said, Carissa, that's what we're going to be working on at the Mindset Body Freedom Retreat in November. So, and
Yeah.
you guys, it's not like just another self-improvement weekend. It's
No.
really, it's not about doing more. It's about undoing what's actually keeping you stuck. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna help your body remember what it is that peace actually feels like deep inside. And we're gonna, we use tools that go beyond information, right? Somatic grounding and breath work and parts integration and self-compassion and rituals and group resonance. I mean, these kind of things, these actually rewire the nervous system for safety, not stress, right? And like you said,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we stop the performing. We
Yeah.
actually start living, like really living.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think so really like what we're just talking about today and what the retreat will help those experiences, like we've been saying, the joy isn't something you chase, it's something that you return to. So when your body finally feels safe,
Yeah.
right? When you stop performing, start allowing, joy will naturally arise. You know what I mean? It's not a forced emotion. No emotion is forced,
Yeah.
actually. Let's just put that there. It's more of like a remembrance now when we're talking about joy. So I feel like if you're craving something deeper, that deeper connection, that lightness that doesn't fade the moment that life gets hard, I think this is the reminder that it's still within you. You just have to give yourself the space to feel it.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to where we started, right? So
Mhm.
all the way back to where we started at the beginning with Dr. Jones' quote from 90
Mhm.
Seconds to a Life of Love, that most people are trying to think their way out of what only feeling can actually heal.
Mhm.
So, you guys, joy isn't isn't something you find. It's something that you remember when we start to break out of those automatic already patterns that we find ourselves stuck in, you know? And then once you get back to remembering, once you're like your system remembers what it feels like to be alive, everything changes. Everything shifts.
It really does. And I think it's just going to be amazing because joy is in the absence of pain, right? It's just to know that we're alive. And when we stop running from our feelings and we start letting ourselves feel, we don't just find joy. We actually will remember that it was never gone, you know, and that is the work. And this retreat is really all about that, just creating enough safety in your body to let that joy come home again, to come home to ourselves.
Yeah. I love what you said. I'm going to just veer off pattern because I want to highlight what you said. You said joy isn't just the absence of pain. And the immediate thing that popped into my head was like childbirth, right?
Yes.
There can be some pain involved, but it's absolutely joyful.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that. So it isn't just the absence of pain. It's a whole new connection to life.
Yeah.
So who's having joy this week? Today, every moment, like go find yourself joy, reconnect to yourself that week. Find that space in yourself, that presence. Stop using your mind to try to figure out how to become joyful, because joy isn't about going on a vacation. Joy isn't about life stopping around you, right? Joy is about being present. It's about feeling. It's about accessing that, getting out of the go, do like pattern and just getting present to that space.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And I think that's just sums up what we're inviting you into, everyone watching, like the space where healing and joy can coexist, because as we know, healing can be a little messy, you know, and where your body just finally trusts that it's safe to feel again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So any of you are like, what retreat are you talking about? I want to get to this retreat and I want to transform my life. Then join us. It's November
Definitely.
16th. It's in Stony Point, New York. And you can message us. So, send us a private message.
Yeah.
Text the office, call the office. We'll get you all connected. And I guess I can
drop the link.
I can drop the link. I've got to go and get the link, but yeah, I can drop the link. Here's the link.
It's just amazing. The past ones that we've done have just been so special for me. I know for you, and I know for all our participants. And it's just a retreat where we stop surviving and we start softening, and, you know, we can remember what, you know, joy feels like again.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, take a couple moments, go find your joy before you move on to whatever the next task is that you're about to take on for the day. Or if you're listening, whenever you're finished watching this recording, like just take those couple moments. It's there. Seek it out, feel it, experience it. It's part of you. It never left. It just got buried.
Exactly. I'm actually going to do that right when we hang up too.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Okay, everyone. Oh, wait a second. Is next week a holiday?
It might be Columbus, maybe.
Okay. So are we doing Lunch and Learn Live next Monday?
I don't know. We haven't really talked about it.
We haven't talked about it yet. I just realized that, hey, it might be a holiday next week. So you guys, we may pop on and surprise you. Otherwise, we usually do take the holidays off, but we'll see. We might pop up. I know one of these weeks we do need to talk about, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yes. And I personally have a pet peeve with all the pink washing that takes place. Same. And some of you are like, pink washing, what is that? It is...
We need to go through
that. It's the commercialization of breast cancer and corporations that are contributing to breast cancer, pretending like they're trying to help breast cancer. So that is certainly something that I would like to talk about unabashedly, because it is a pet peeve. And I really do feel like, at least I feel like I'm noticing that there is just overall breast cancer and all cancers, at least in my space, there seems to be an increase in the last couple years.
Yeah.
And so it's important for us to talk about. So if we don't do that next Monday, it'll be the following Monday. But that is an item on our agenda to talk about for sure.
Awesome.
All right, everyone.
All right,
We'll see you